If you want to start watching anime and you don't want to get lost all the hundreds of episodes animes, here are the top 10 animes for the beginners. Number 10. Noragami. Noragami is about a minor god of calamity and war named Yato. Yato lacks even a shrine to his name, along with no followers. In attempt to become known, he charges only 5 yen to grant the wishes of near-shore dwellers. Throughout his mission, he encounters a near-shore girl named Hiyori, whose soul tranquilly slips out of her body, and Yukine, a wandering spirit whom he names as his weapon to kill corrupted spirits, which are known as phantoms. Number 9. God Jazz. The story is set in an alternative timeline where the world has become split into 3 superpowers: the Holy Britannian Empire, the Chinese Federation, and the European Union. The story takes place after the Holy Britannian Empire conquest on Japan. In turn, Britannia effectively strips Japan and its citizens for all rights and freedoms and renames the country Area 11. Main character of this anime is Lelouch v Britannia, who is an exiled Britannia prince. Lelouch gets caught up in a terrorist attack and finds a girl who saves Lelouch's life from the Britannian Royal Guard by making a contact with him that grants Lelouch a power known as Jazz. This power allows him to command anyone to do whatever he wants, whether bending their will to live, fight, or die on his behalf, through only once and only through direct eye contact. Lelouch decides to put his Jazz to use and find the person who killed his mother, destroy the Britannian Empire, and to create a better world. Number 8. Hellsing. If you want a brutal and a bloody anime, you should definitely start with Hellsing. Hellsing is about an organization called Hellsing. This organization hunts vampire and have the most powerful vampire named Alucard, who sworn loyalty to the organization. Number 7. Sword Art Online. The year is 2022 and gamers have lined up on launch day for Sword Art Online, a MMORPG that lets player contact to an immersive virtual reality world with special helmets called Nerve Gear. Kirito is one such gamer who's eager to jump back into action, having spent a great deal of time as a beta tester, and quickly becomes friends with a newbie warrior Klein. But soon, Sword Art Online's 10,000 players discover that not only are they unable to log out, the only way they can return to their physical bodies is by beating the 100 level tower's final boss. Death in the game means death in the real world. Now, with no one else to turn to, Kirito and the other participants must survive the game as best they can. Number 6. Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress. A mysterious virus appears during the Industrial Revolution that transforms infected humans into Kabane and rapidly spreads. Kabane are aggressive, undead creatures that cannot be defeated unless the glowing heart, which is protected by a layer of iron, is pierced. Unfortunately, most melee weapons and the steam pressure guns used by the Bushi are not very effective against them. On the island country Hinamoto, people have built fortresses-like stations to shelter themselves from these creatures. People access the stations and transport wares between them with the help of armored steam locomotives. One day an armored locomotive hijacked by the Kabane crashers into Aragane station and they overrun the city. A young engineer called Ikama uses the opportunity to test with success his anti-Kabane weapon, the piercing gun, but he is infected in the process. Although he has managed to resist the virus and become a Cabaneri, a human-Kabane hybrid, assisted by Mumei, another Cabaneri who appears to help them. Ikama and the other survivors of the station board to Kotetsuju, aka Iron Fortress, and depart to seek shelter elsewhere, fighting the hordes of Kabane along the way. Number 5. Fullmetal Alchemist. After their mother's death, Edward Elric and his younger brother Alphonse try using alchemy to bring her back to life. Unfortunately, they do not fully take into account the law of covalent exchange, which requires a sacrifice of equal value to what one hopes to achieve. Not only do they fail to revive their mother, but Edward loses an arm and a leg, and Alphonse loses his entire body, forcing his soul to remain confined to an empty suit of armor. Seeking a way to restore their bodies, Edward becomes a state alchemist, and the brothers begin a long search for the legendary Philosopher's Stone, an object purported to allow its user to ignore the law of equivalent exchange. Number 4. One Punch Man. The story is about Saitama, a hero who is a hero just for fun and can defeat his enemies with a single punch. One Punch Man is a very funny and entertaining anime that anyone who wants just fun should watch it. Number 3. Akame ga Kill. Akame ga Kill is a story focused on Tatsumi, who is a young villager that travels to the capital to raise money for his home, only to discover a strong corruption in the area. The assassin group known as Night Raid recruits the young men to help them in their fight against the empire to end its corruption. The series is known for its graphic content. Number 2. Death Note. Death Note follows a high school student who comes across a supernatural notebook, realizing it holds within a great power. If the owner inscribes someone's name into it while picturing their face, he or she will die. Intoxicated with his new godlike abilities, the young man begins to kill those he deems unworthy of life. And finally, number 1. Shingeki no Kyojin. Several hundred years ago, humans were nearly exterminated by titans. Titans are typical several stories told, seems to have no intelligence, devour human beings, and worst of all seems to do it for the pleasure rather than as a food source. A small percentage of humanity survived by walling themselves in a city protected by extremely high walls, even taller than the biggest of titans. Flash forward to the present and the city has not seen a titan in over 100 years. Teenage boy Eren Yeager and his foster sister Mikasa Eckerman witness something horrific as the city walls are destroyed by a colossal titan that appears out of thin air. Years later, after the colossal titan, Eren and Mikasa join the military and fight the titan.